So my name is Jacqueline Yolanda Johnson, frontline soldier for the Most High God, alchemist, prophetess, empath, and my life is a prophecy. So I wanted to get on here and speak about some things. The things I want to speak about is the mockery basically that's been made of me in society. I like to start and say, this first section is going to be about my sorry ass family. So my auntie Linda uh, capitalized off my pain, if you will. She started waiting for me to go to sleep. And she would have the old geezers in her building come in, and I guess they would drug me with something, and pay her the money and do whatever they could do, which I don't assume they could do that much, being that they old geezers in a senior citizen building. Well, once God revelated to me what my aunt was doing, it was time for me to go. So I called my mom, and me and my mom really, well, she not my mom. Her name Yolanda. I'm gonna be 100 with y'all. We really don't get along that well or whatever. But I couldn't wait to see her and talk to her and tell her what my aunt had did, so she could check her sister type shit. But she was more like, that sound like a good idea. And then she had this ideal in her head to where she was going to set me up and make a video of me and give it to law enforcement for them to put me in a mental institution, because that's the life that she wanted for me. And to say I was gravely ill and couldn't take care of myself and I needed help for this and that, because she don't want to hear the prophecy that I prophesied to her from God. The way I speak, the way I talk, who I am, it becomes annoying to the fake. I said that. So anyway, I go over to her house and I go to sleep. And I could have swore when I went to sleep, some niggas jumped on me. You know, real bad. Just doing to me what they wanted to do. And I couldn't understand that. But I was asleep, and I didn't actually see a person for myself. So I didn't mention it. I didn't bring it up. And then she came home and she was calling me from outside, this and that. When I came back in the house, I noticed there was a camera in the living room recording, which means that attack that just happened to me was also recorded over in the Venice show lines, right? So she connected with the Venice show lines. Maybe that ain't they hood, but it's close by that area. So, the area of Venice. She connected with them, and it was dude downstairs to drive the white Mercedes, fat motherfucker. He was the recorder. So I'm sitting on the porch like a day later, and I could hear them talking about the video next door. And he talking about next time and this and that. And I was just like, wow, right? I couldn't fathom to believe that my biological has to sick these niggas on me. I didn't know that she hated me that much, right? But she did. And you know what else? She put out an insurance policy on me, and them niggas told her they was gonna kill me. But I want to make something extremely clear right here. You could make a plan to kill me, right? But I ain't met nobody harder than God Almighty. Just leave it right there. Do whatever you want to do with that. And I'm going to say it again. You could plan to do whatever you want to do to me and call yourself getting me up out of here. But I ain't met nobody harder than God ever. And there will never be. The only thing harder than God is the Holy Spirit. And the reason I say that is because Jesus was seen as flesh. So God will be seen as flesh. Maybe. But the Holy Spirit is just spirit. So the only thing that could trump God is the Holy Spirit, because it's all spirit. If that makes sense. Anyway, back to the shenanigans. So she hated me that much, and she did get them niggas suck on me, and she got an insurance policy took out on me. Then she put a missing person report on me, and she wanted them niggas to kill me. Then she got her child molester husband, Big Mike, pedophile, rapist, you know, rape me, rape my baby, you feel me? I'm airing everybody, y'all, and I'm unapologetic. Ain't nobody about to do a motherfucking thing to me, right? And even if you think you is, come with it. I don't give a fuck, right? So, anyway, but this is about my family. So, he suck all these blood niggas on me from this hood, and suck these blood niggas on me because I went to the police and told the police that he raped me. And he did rape me. And he drugged me, right? So it was on me to speak how I wanted to speak and deal with the situation how I wanted the situation. He said I'm weak. And he said my little brother weak. Like, Yolanda kids is soft. Basically, that's what he said. So he didn't leave me no choice but to go down there and turn his motherfucking ass in. Only thing is, the police, they never believe me. I tell them the straight fucking truth every fucking time. They never motherfucking believe me. Ever. They never believe me. And I'm always telling them the truth. I'm about to sue the fuck out of them, but that's a side note. Anyway, so my aunt sold me to the community of her apartment building. She prophesied. She made money off me. It was a good thing for her. The more she would look at me, she would hate me more because she would wonder to herself if I knew, or she couldn't stand to discuss what she was doing, but she liked the money, right? Okay, so my mom, they propositioned her and told her she was going to get XYZ money and they was going to split it. They was going to turn the tape in. So now motherfuckers is clout chasing off of me, making money and getting likes and views and so forth and so on, right? Okay, so then I try to reach out to one of Yolanda's friends, Robbie Joe, and see if I could, you know, just get a good night's sleep, Like, it's hard when you're homeless on the street and every time you close your eyes, you get attacked. So the only thing you really want is a safe, warm environment with a locked door just to make sure you don't get touched while you sleep. But she had already gave Robbie Joe instructions that if I come up over there, that they more than welcome to set me up and get them a video so they can make some money. So Robbie Joe got him a video and he made him some money for him, Maisha, and they kid. And then I went to my mom's bestest friend, Pumpkin. And I told her what was going on, and she kind of turned it around and was like, what are we doing for our life to be like that? I ain't did nothing for all these people to come against me. I haven't done anything, and I did not deserve it, right? So she said she have her man coming over. She got a little spot, so I asked her if I could sleep in her car. When I was sleep in her car, she called the 60 niggas over there so she could get her a video. Yeah, she made her a video. She think I don't know. I didn't confront her about it, but yeah, I know, baby. I'm a prophetess. I know every motherfucking thing, even shit that people think I don't know, because I don't always choose to expose my attacker till I see how far my attacker is willing to go. So she did that, and then the blanket wet and shit. I ain't had nothing liquid. I ain't had nothing. And so when she get in the car in the morning to hurry up and drop me off, so she won't have to think about what she just did, right? I tell her, I say, why is the blanket wet? You know, my hip was hurt, and anytime my hip hurt, I have been moved from one area to the next. So I already know that something went down. Um, but she dropped me off, and she was like, "Peace, Jack." And going back to Robbie Joe right quick. When Robbie Joe dropped me off, he gave me $60. Yolanda from 60s. So it took me a while to put all the pieces together and then Pumpkin. So I was talking to the Lord, and so I tell the Lord, well, maybe I could try Shelly Harrison. I hadn't talked to her in some years, and we really didn't have any bad blood. So I go to her mom house and asked her mom to call her. And her mom calls her for me. And I asked her if I could come out there for a while. Told her the type of things that I was going through. I'm getting attacked on the bus. I'm getting attacked on the train. I can't go to sleep. It seemed like every time I close my eyes, I'm getting attacked. I don't know how to stop it. I don't know where it come from, right? So she said, yeah, come, I can't come get you, but you can come out in the morning. So I'm like, well, I'm going to try to ask your mom if I could spend a night. So I asked her mom if I could spend a night, and the nephew was there. So I honestly believe the nephew wanted to get him a video. And then the nephew ended up telling the niece, the cousin Jade, which is Shelly's daughter, what he had done. And then Jade told her mom, and instead of Shelly being a real friend to me, she decided with her family, which is cool. But I thought loyalty stumps everything or whatever. So then now she don't want me at her house because she done crossed me, right? So then the Hispanics where she live at start coming in her house and attacking me. And she didn't want to do nothing about it. She didn't want to change the logs. She didn't want the management to know. She wanted me to go and treated me like I was a food stamp that was wet, scratched on the back of the milk carton. Honestly, that's how I was treated. So I left and I had to come back to deal with my shit. I just wanted to give that little rundown on my karmic family members that sold me out to the highest bidder and was attacking me when I went to sleep. And a bonus for my biological Yolanda, she's put her dog on top of me. She did. And she think I don't know all this, right? But karma coming back. And before you get the judging, I want y'all to hear everything because I'm coming 100%. I'm just about to wipe it out and I'm about to come clean, right? And if I'm lying about anything, any of y'all is welcome to reach out, right? Okay. So that's the little segment with my family, right? So let's rewind. So back in 2018, I met this dude. His name was Ant, and
Where's it going?
he was really fine, handsome, debonair, fly brother, right? Maybe too fly. But
Horrible. But I can do it.
when I seen him, it's like he fell out the sky. I promise you, it felt like me and my baby was in the car, and then I turned my head and turned back, and he was standing there. And I was like, God damn, where the fuck this motherfucker come from? Damn, he fine, right? And he just looked like a little boy. He don't. He just looked like a little boy. Anyway, I started asking the people from the area, like, who is that or whatever, and then they was saying like who he was, but he was acting like he didn't have no interest in me, right? So I was like, oh, okay. Then I seen him get inside his car, right? Because he was already it without getting in the car. Then I seen him get in the car or driving the car down the street. I was like, that's him. And it just seemed like I just kept seeing him in passing. And when I would notice the person, I'd be like, oh, that's him, because that's all that I would see him. So I asked God. I said, God, can I have this man? He was different from any man that I ever chose. Like, he was different from like any man that I ever have been with, right? His clothes was tailored. His motorcycle vest and his pants and the way he dressed, and it seemed like he was very accomplished. Like someone that could teach me something, right? Not the dudes that I'm used to dating, braids and pants sagging down or gangbanger. This was like a corporate man. At least that's what it seemed like, how he carried himself, whatnot. But he played hard to get, right? So made it seem like I was a pass and so forth and so on. So I let that go for a little while, right? And because of the vibration between me and him, like the way that he made me feel, it made me dig deeper, you know. So I started looking up like twin flames and, why does this person make me feel like I ain't never felt before type shit, right? So the more I looked into it, the more I became intrigued to go deeper and deeper and, watching videos and this and that, because I was really digging this dude, right? And for him to be my twin flame, I would have to be in like a spiritual connection with this guy. So I'm in a spiritual connection with him, right? Check all my shit real quick. Even though I'm right here. My bad. Anyway, I'm back. So I let it go, right? In 18. But the impression that he left on me is like, I'm about to get my shit together, like I'm about to fix my credit, I'm about to take my life serious, and I'm gonna be the best version of myself. Like, he brought that out of me. Like, that's the energy that he was carrying. So we move on into 2021, and I go on the block, you know over on the east side. I go on the block, and having a real bad day, um, it wasn't my best day. Had got bad news, this and that, wasn't feeling my best, really had already stopped drinking, but felt like I needed a drink that day. So went over there so I could sip something. So when I get there, oh boy tell me, oh, and said, give you his number, right? So I get his number. When I get his number, I tell oh boy, give him my number and tell him to, call me or whatever before I call him. So I know it's cool to call him because he kind of scared me a little bit, right? I never seen a dude that was that flawless before, or that's what I thought. I haven't really had no conversation with him or been in his presence that long, but just from the little indignations that I did see, right? So he called me, we talk. We text, we talk all night, like that night, and then the next day. But before 2021, I had already looked him up, like he was a Gemini, and so I knew everything about Gemini. And when I had talked to my Yolanda, my biological, about him, she said, the men, you have to be nice to them. So I always try to be nice to him, right? So the energy that I was getting from him was like I was bothering him. He didn't want to be bothered. He didn't want to be mean and whatever. So on the second day, when I was talking to him on the phone, I hear something like, I can't see your dick. I'm like, what? Yeah, he said that. And so he whispered in the phone like, I'm a I'm at my mama house. I'm gonna call you right back. So I was like, oh, okay. Right? And I blocked him. Right? God said block him. Block him right then and there, right? Because I had already told him about the twin flame journey. When it's different when you have a spiritual connection with someone versus a physical connection. So he knew the ins and outs, and he knew how much I liked him, and he did that to see if he could run game or play games with me. And God didn't like it, so he told me to cut it off. So in 21, I cut it off, right? But I said all this to lead y'all where it is that I'm trying to take you, right? So, where is it that I'm trying to take you is that, remember, I blocked him for the disrespect. And when I was talking to him on the phone, he was basically telling me, because he had got hurt and fell off his motorcycle, this and that. He was basically telling me that he was trying to get his bread back up, right? Like, basically, I'm a distraction, I'm a problem. So I'm like, okay, well, go ahead. And so we ended it, and it hurt really bad because I asked God for that man. So I assumed that God said, yes, I can have that man. But what it was is God wanted me to come in contact with this individual so that I could raise my frequency up. So I can go from the bargain rack, right, to the highest jewel at the jewelry store on the highest shelf. That's what that interaction was, right? So as I blocked him, I continued on my path. I continued on my journey of living my life. When I stayed in Encinitas, I had started getting raped, by some Hispanics, and they kept coming for me, and occasionally some blacks, like in the place where I lived at. So before that, I stayed like in an all-girl facility, ran by women, security women, everything was women. But it was these two dykes that felt like they wanted me, and I don't get down like that. So I wanted to leave, but it got worse for me when I left, and I started getting raped, and the people at the facility, they weren't believing me. And it was really irking my soul because everybody was underplaying me. Like the things that were happening to me were cool and they wasn't, you know? So anyway, um I end up leaving Silmar, coming back down to LA. I went over to the Wine Guard. I got raped there probably by every security that was there. And I didn't even know, right? Well, I didn't know when it happened. I kind of figured it out a little bit too late. And I start getting put in these situations to where I gotta call law enforcement or I gotta go to the hospital. I gotta make some noise because I was attacked. And sometimes I could have went to sleep having a good night and I had plans for the next day and it's like, no, you wake up, you was raped. And now you gotta go to the hospital. And I was downplaying it at first. Like, no, it did not happen to me. Like, can nobody get in my room? Like, everything is how I had it and this and that. So I start conspiracy theory. Like, maybe it's another way in this room, that type shit. Or whatever. So I moved out of the Wine Guard. And emphatically, I end up moving from downtown, period. So I would go over to the shelter on 87th and Broadway, you know, and the shelter on 87th and Broadway is ran by gangbangers at nighttime. And the women were in cubicles. We weren't even in the whole room. And they had cameras on the ceiling, but they didn't work. And I just thought that was the most low, thirsty bullshit. So I called the police to make a police report, even go in for a SART exam, but they couldn't get no camera footage, and I couldn't tell them what my attacker looked like. So they start thinking I'm lying, right? So I leave the shelter on 87, on 88th in Vermont. So then I go to another shelter, right? It's I think it was what was it? 601 West 70th Street in the Hoovers, right? And so I wake up and I feel like I was drugged, and I take the drug test, and the facilitator like, no, it don't say, man, you can go to urgent care, this and that, or whatever. And I start remembering my attack, you know, like they attacked me real bad, and they picked me up and took me out the room, and they had sex with me on my menstrual, like they did me dirty. So I didn't have my strength up then. I didn't have my courage up. So I let them walk. You know, I didn't make no noise, and it was a lot of them. So I left. But the more I would walk away from these situations, the more I would feel depleted, the more I would feel drained, the more I would feel like I should do more. And they talking big shit. I'm a tramp, I'm a hoe, I'm a slut, right? And so it started getting to me. Like, you don't get to call me hoe. You don't get to call me tramp. You don't get to call me slut. And you took from me, right? So I leave that shelter. They start stealing my clothes, all kind of shit. So I leave that shelter, and I get a room through 211, right? And they put me in the room in Whittier. And I could have swore the manager came up in my room, but I can't prove it. So I let that go. I come back, and I try to spend a night at my brother dad's house, I thought I could trust him, but I woke up like in the Matrix, like one of them moves that Keanu Reeves do. You know, when he like alchemating his body to move around. That's how I woke up, and I'm like, "What the fuck is this?" But he had gave me crack, and he had did what he wanted to do. I could feel in my body what he had done, and at that time, he was the only one for me. You know, he was like giving me a couple of dollars here and there, letting me stay over there. You know, whatever it is that I needed to wash my clothes, down to weed, whatever, right? And so I wanted to expose him still, though. Like, don't fucking touch me, bitch. You're supposed to be my stepfather. Why are you desiring me in that kind of way? So I left. You know, I left his house too, and ultimately to get away from him because I knew he was gonna come for me, and I knew he was gonna try to get something done to me because of the information that I carried. So right now, we talking about the nigga aunt. We talking about what my mom did. We talking about what my auntie did. We talking about what her homeboy Robbie Joe did. We talking about what her homegirl Pumpkin did. We talking about what Shelly Harrison family did. Um, we talking about what happened at the shelters. So ultimately, I ended up making a decision that I wasn't gonna stay in no more shelters. That I would just have to make it on the street, and I wasn't working, and things were way different than it was when I was younger. When I was younger and I didn't know no better, you know, I hustled. And I hustled myself and I made money and I made a lot of money and I had rooms every day and bought clothes and did it like that and took care of my kids. But the woman that I am this day, a Proverbs 37 woman, you know, a frontline soldier for the Most High God. You know, when God tell me to get in there with that bad thing, I do it. That's who I am now, right? So if God say, go over here to this hood and tell the police they did this, I'm going to do that. And I'm not going to worry about what you're going to do to me because God already told me you can't touch me, right? And so that kind of make me untouchable, right? Right. Except in the area of sex. And it took me a long time to gather in my mind, why does God protect me from bullets and people doing stuff to me? Um, Drug overdoses. Then when my attackers try to get me up out of here and poison me and lace me and did the most, he would protect me from all of that, but he wouldn't protect me from the actual rapes. So I had to go into my thinking cap. And what I came up with is that the reason God doesn't protect me from the rape, because the rape is connected to the destiny. And that's why I'm making this message today, right? So I'm going to go back to the boy Ant. Fast forward to 2025. I go in for a SART exam, and they have the people that come there to help you. The you know the what are they called? Let me think. It's like an assistant. You know, somebody to be there for you because you was sexually assaulted, and um, I can't really think of the name of it right now, but basically like assistant. So she comes and she's looking through the book. She's trying to find somewhere for me to stay, right? And then she gives me this number and his name, or whatever of this lady that's going to help me find somewhere to stay. So the lady finds me a place to live on, I think it's 80, 83rd, 83rd in San Pedro, or 85th, right? 83rd, 85th, 86th, something like that. I think it was 85th, 83rd, right? And it's called FFA, the Finish First Academy, right? So it's supposed to be like a domestic violence shelter slash uh yeah, it's supposed to be like a domestic violence shelter, right? Wait, hold on, let me hold this. I need to smoke my cigarette. But anyway, it's supposed to be like a domestic violence shelter slash sexual assault. So the first night when I get there and I wake up, my hip was hurting. And that automatically told me that somebody had removed me from my bed. But I had a roommate and she swore did nobody come in the room. But I knew better. And I called law enforcement and I froze up. You know, I just thought it was going to end up not looking good for me. And to go back, I wish I would have made that phone call that day and been done with the FFA. Because every night that I went to sleep, whatever hood is right there, I'm not for sure what hood it is on 85th and San Pedro, but whatever hood is right there, they came into my room and picked me up and took me out of that room and did whatever they wanted to do to me. You know, it was so bad that I didn't want to take a bath because I didn't want to wash off the evidence in case I gained heart, to go to law enforcement or to tell or so forth and so on. And I would go into the house every day and I would look at the lady and I would look at the participants and I'm like, all these motherfuckers know what happened to me and they think I'm a dumbass bitch that I don't know what happened, right? But that wasn't it. God whispered in my ear that this boy that I used to talk to, well, that I talked to for 2 days over the phone, and right, was behind these attacks. Like, he gave all them dudes their permission slips, right? My bad. Yeah, so he had gave all these dudes their permission slip, right? And I thought that was pretty fucked up. So one day I go on the block and he on the block, right? So he like, how you doing? And I ignore him because God said don't say nothing, right? Because now I come into contact with the person that have been getting all this shit done to me, right? So he had been sex trafficking me without my permission. When I was in Sylmar, more than likely when I was downtown, when I went to the shelter on Broadway and 801 West 70th, like he